Hi everyone, this is Steve. Welcome to my channel, and don't forget to subscribe. In this video, I'd like to teach you more about C64 hacking of games. Stay tuned. Okay guys, I am back here, and what I'm going to be doing obviously is showing you some techniques that I've learned to make some changes to the Pitfall 2 game, stuff like that. Okay, so you've noticed that he's already running at a normal pace, right? You already see him, as the game as originally has always been, Pitfall here, he can run from left to right in a normal mode, and just based on the timing of the processor. However, what I found out by doing and using a tool called Regenerator, which I'll show you in a minute here, is I learned how to find and search for the appropriate memory locations that control the movement of the player, as well as jumping and other things. So let's get started on that. So to give you an idea here, we're going to switch over to Regenerator, and I'm using OBS Studio. So now you're looking at a screen of Regenerator. I have already loaded in the Pitfall 2 source code, and we're already pointing at memory address hex 8A2A in memory. Now I can't explain this to a T because I'm still learning about the game, and just to let you know, kind of a disclaimer or whatever here is, this is not a tutorial to explain everything in the game, because that would take forever, a lot of, research and reverse engineering just to figure out what's really going on. Rather, what I'm doing is just taking specific hacks to try to speed up the gameplay and make it a little bit more interesting, and learning from the code as well. And see what is in that specific location. Assembly language is based on looking at a lot of memory locations and seeing what the bits are operating at that memory location. So this one currently is pointing to hex 44 in memory. Now, based on my research and everything, I think this has something to do with timing, because anytime I go in and I start tweaking this, it starts speeding up and slowing down the game progressively. So what we'll be doing here, and I'll go down through these instructions here as I click on them to show you here. Back to my Regenerator here. This instruction right here, the next one down the line, is called AND. And what it essentially does is it looks at bits and memory locations, and it basically turns them off in memory. So right now this is turning off all bits except bit 1. I do believe that's bit 1. And bit 1 is based on the timing. So as soon as it hits the timer, which is being pulled in by, I believe this, again, memory location 44, it's saying, okay, at this point, if we haven't reached this bit in memory, then we're going to go to memory location here, which is 8A57. So somewhere down in memory here, it's jumping down to this location, and it's skipping over all of this to get to the actual where it needs to go. It's basically following a progression stage in the code and just moving forward to the next instruction to do the next task. In addition to running, maybe checking the left-right movement, swimming, enemy characters, whatever's going on in the game at that point. So what I've done is I've learned how to tweak these addresses inside of Vice, which I'll show you here in a little bit. And what I've actually paid attention to tweaking was this, obviously this masked location, because I found out this is the timer. So what I've actually done is I've changed it, and I'll show you here in a minute, by zeroing out all the bits. And I noticed as soon as I zeroed out the bits, it started speeding up things in the game. This next location down here underneath, this is actually called branch not equal. And it's saying if this location above it here, based on what's been pulled in memory and read and viewed, is not equal to the value that's found in memory, which is this masked one, then as I mentioned, it's going to skip over. So this next one is called INC, it's increment. What it does is it's basically a way of moving forward a value in memory. It's basically counting from 0 all the way up to 255. And it's checking to see what's stored in that memory location. So increment is now incrementing register or hex value 19, which I found out the 19 is where they're storing the horizontal position of our player. So basically whether he's running to the right or whether he's running to the left in this case. So we're going to go now into the Vice monitor here. And I'm going to need to get back to the game here for a minute and just switch on the Vice monitor here. Okay, so now we are now looking at the same memory locations we looked at earlier. I do believe this is the same one. Let me just double check to make sure I'm doing the right things here. So 8A2A and oh, S is 8ACA. Okay, so actually, to be consistent with the game, the first one you were looking at, that was actually the location moving over the player as he's running to the left. But the left part of, the left part of the game right now isn't going to be important since the game starts off running to the right. So memory location 8ACA starts off running to the right instead. So I wanted to tweak this one instead, which is right. Actually, it's probably this one down here. Excuse me. Okay, 1 second here. Okay, so we are back, and what I did is I actually had to reload the correct register, which is down here. You see it's 8A2A in memory, starting at load 44 again, the masking of 1, and branch dot equal 8A57, jumping down the loop and incrementing 19. So like I said, pay attention to the line 8A2C for an immediate value of 1. That's the one we're going to be tweaking right now. Now I'm going to have to clear the screen or something here so you can see this a little bit better. 1 second. Okay, so what I had to do is some tweaking with Vice here to get this working. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do something called assembling this memory location here for the AND 1. That's at hex register 8A2C. So first you start, click in Vice here, by typing the A, letter A, that stands for assemble, and then after that, within the Vice monitor, you're going to type the hex address, which is 8A2C. And then after that, you're going to type the instruction that you're going to be using. In this case, we don't want to tweak AND in any way. All we really want to tweak is the value. Now, if you try to start going off and changing memory locations and you don't know what you're doing, you can easily crash your game. So just be cautious there. Next, we're going to be typing in AND, the number sign, which gets the immediate value, and then a $sign, which means reach the hex value. Very important. And then we're going to type just 2 double zeros for the zero, just zero itself, essentially. Now we've entered it in memory. If we type in D, this is for disassemble, which allows you to look at a certain set of memory locations, and we just type in the registers we want to look at. 8A2C, it's going to, did it wrong. 8A2A, excuse me. It's going to show us a dump of what we just did, and you saw the value of AND here now changed to 0, 0. What I found out this memory location does again is it speeds up the player running to the right. Now, actually, if we go back to the game in progress, we're going to see something a little bit differently this time to demonstrate that here. Okay, sorry about that, guys. What I actually did is I forgot to turn on the Vice again. So anyways, we now have our game character running here. Now, you look this way, you can see how he's running at that pace. Now, watch when I go this way. You see how much faster he's moving? To kind of demonstrate that I have gone ahead and found the correct location to speed up. Now, I can almost catch up to the bat there. In the original demo, he would crash right into the bat. Instead, what I'm going to be doing is showing you. Now, it's not speeding up his movement in the water. This is actually in the same register, but it's in a different memory location, which we'll be playing with here soon. We'll be having a lot of fun with this. Also, I figured out how to reverse the rat here. You can also freeze him, too, if you want to. So let's go back here, and we'll keep going through more hacks. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is show you what I have here disassembled. You saw earlier when I was talking about how introducing Regenerator tool, that this is the memory location right here to go ahead and change. I'll just click on here on the map here at the 44 right here. This is the area that's changing the left movement in the game itself. And then next, we went in ourselves and we changed the right movement. But what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be having a little bit more fun with this, and we're going to start tweaking this up. So now that we don't really need to focus on the left movement for now, but we're going to stay focused on the right. So the next thing I'd like to do actually is increase the right swimming speed to the right here. You see it starting at memory location 8BF1. Okay, so in order to do that, you see this box over here that says jump to. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but there's a jump to here. You can't see the box popping up, but it allows you to enter the hex address where we want to go. In this case, we want to increase the swimming speed to the right. So we're going to type in 8BF1 to jump to that hex address, and you'll see the generator update there. Now, this is the register that points directly to the swimming, and again, all we're doing is we're focusing on changing that AND value. So we're going to also return back here to Vice now, and we're going to go ahead and change that AND value for our swimming location here. Back at the screen I'm on, that's interesting. And we're going to disassemble 8BF1 so we can take a look at those memory locations. And then once again, we're going to use the assemble command and memory location 8BF3. And then we're going to take out that AND, which is currently set. You can see it's set to 3 here on 8BF1. I'll just put the cursor next to it so you can kind of see it. It's right here, 8BF1. And we're going to change this line down here to our 0, of course. Immediate value of 0. And we could go ahead and redo and look at the memory location again there. So as we see that we've actually altered it. And now we're going to go back to the game in progress. Just by closing our window is good enough. And I'll just point to the window again here. And you'll see now, watch this as I swim over here to the right, how he's moving at a certain pace, right? You can see that. Now clearly when I go to the left, look at this, or to the right here, look, he's actually going pretty fast now. You can see how much more speed I can take up in moving across the game pretty quickly there. Okay, so now when we come over here, you'll see that we encounter our little scorpion. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to speed up what's essentially his jumping. If you look at the jumping here currently, I don't want to die here, but I'll just demonstrate here. He can only jump so high, right? But we're going to be speeding up the jumping so we can clearly scale that scorpion. Let's get into that. Okay, so what we are going to be doing now is we're going to be focusing on this memory location right here. This has increased the right jumping speed, so when he jumps to the right, he'll be able to easily scale over our scorpion in the game. And this is focused on memory location hex register 8B0C. So if we go ahead and reverse and switch back over to device monitor here, we'll be able to go into that memory location and have some fun, which is tweaking it, of course. Now the register we're going to focus on this time to assemble is 8B0E. You want to focus on the AND once again. We're changing that bit 1 to 0 to mask them all out so that it speeds up and pretty much skips over our timer at that point. Okay, so we are changing it once again to 0 to mask it out, and we'll go ahead and review our memory locations to make sure everything's been changed, and you can see it has. So now we'll go ahead and switch back to the game in progress so that we can go ahead and take a look. Okay, so now let's go ahead and test that out. Now I also did increase this jumping speed because I was testing that earlier, and I wanted to make sure a scorpion didn't kill me. So you can see that the left jumping speed has been increased. Now watch when I get to the scorpion, I can easily scale him. He cannot, like before, you had that mini jump and you had to get real close to him and jump over him. Now I can pretty much scale him by a mile, so I just landed on him there. Okay, so I'm back here, so we're going to continue the adventure here. Jump over our scorpion and keep going. Let's go down to the next session here. And I turned off the music, although if you wanted to hear the music, you can in options. But we're not going to do that because I have the volume set really high so that my audio comes in and it's going to control, you know, kind of distract from what we're trying to do. But anyways, you can see I'm still kind of moving around here. And see how his left speed is still going kind of slow there? We'll go ahead and we'll speed that up here real quick. And just to grab my notes here, the left movement speed starts at 8AB5. So we can switch back to our device monitor and go to 8AB5. We should be good. Okay, you can see that there's a 1 in there. And we're going to change 8AB7, mask that out. And now we've got rid of his, and we pretty much speeded up the movement now. Now watch when I move here. Now you can see that how fast he's moving to the left as well as to the right. I'm moving at a pretty good pace here. Okay, now I wouldn't say I've been able to speed up the bat frog and all that, but the purpose of the game is to try to win it. Rather, we're going to do something a little bit more interesting. Playing with it last night, I learned how to kind of reverse the directions. Pretty much close to all the characters except the frog I haven't located yet. And while we're on that, we should probably go back to the bat, but for now we'll stick with where we're at. Okay, so if everything serves me correctly, memory location 9948, right, you should see right here in Regenerator, should be the correct location to change the location of the table that's running the bat, the scorpions, and I believe the vulture too. So the memory location we're going to be changing is this one, and it's set to increment currently, so we'll set it to decrement to kind of reverse the direction. I'm keeping track of all these running windows, so sometimes it's hard. Okay, so memory location 9948, assemble 9948, and we're going to use the decrement for DEC. Keep the value at 29 and keep the X register intact there. So we've now changed memory location 9948, you can see here on the screen, to our appropriate new address. So let's go ahead and test it. Okay, I left the screen and I returned so that you could see it because I left the screen pretty quickly. So here, if I go back on the screen, watch. You see how the bat went backward? He's now going backward. Now the frog, of course, is still going forward. Now, I like this. Watch this. Scale the frog like he's nothing, huh? But if we walk down the ladder, you'll see the bat's moving backward. Watch. Let's get back up here. Whoops. There they go. They go off the screen so quickly so you don't see them unless I'm moving. Now if I go over here, you saw that even the eel's going backward. Watch. See the scorpion's walking backward. And let's increase the swimming speed this way now that we're kind of in the game. And that is done by changing register 8CBB, which is currently set to AND with 3, and we're changing it to 0 once again. Okay, now back to the game, and you can see that he's now swimming both directions pretty fast there. And you see the eel moving backward. Watch this. They're all moving backward. There goes the bats. There goes the eel. And way over here, you can see him kind of moving backward. Now the vulture's still going to fly in its own direction, but you will see the vulture not return back to the screen. Here's a good example. You see him go over there, but he'll never come back out. Okay. So let's get back over here. If I don't die, I'll try to go up the ladder here. And see? Y'all scared of me now, huh? You don't want none of this, do you? Oh, I almost fell in the hole. So I wanted to save my location. This is the marker that saves this location here. The funny thing now is you can't complete this part of the game because you've turned it off. Essentially, we could always go back in and rehack it, but I just wanted to show you that part. So instead, we're going to be doing something a little bit different here. We're going to be doing a new hack. Okay, so the next one we're going to be doing now is we're going to be focusing on a little funny technique I found that allows him to float from the river all the way to wherever you want to go. He'll basically float forever until we stop him. So this memory location you're looking at here for 8D59 is apparently controlling, I believe, a swimming height, like how high he can get up to the water before he kind of settles. At this point, there's no limit to how high he can swim up, so he just keeps going up. So what we'll do is we'll set a value in that location for this to work. Okay, so we're back at our Vice monitor. We have the correct address pointed on the screen, and we're going to assemble it. And we're going to put a 1 in there where it currently has a 255 set in there, which does the trick I found out. And these are only a few of the hacks I found. But we'll be having more fun hacking more games going forward, so keep the series tuned. Okay guys, the game crashed and I had to restart. I'm back to everything back to where it was, in the same position kind of. And what we're going to do now is, if you see if I'm moving this way, everything's normal, right? But watch what happens as soon as I start moving to the left. Our player starts slowly rising above the swim height limit. Don't lie, he's kind of like almost like a Superman mode here. But as soon as you move this way, he will fall again. And it won't activate till you get back into the water and you move that way again. Ever wanted to see what was at the top of this level? I always did. This is that level that leads to the diamond, which is over here. So I paused it a little bit. Right there, that's the diamond right there. So actually, if you go here, you can see it. Now we're at the diamond, just like that. Now see, if I move this way again, the thing is turned off again. So unless I'm in the water, I'm not going to have that same hack again. There. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this session, and please stay tuned in the future for more C64 hacking videos. I also appreciate any favorites, likes to this channel as I continue to grow. Have a good night.